Okay, now we move into where we start to solve algebraic equations. So these are equations, of course, because you see the equal sign, but this first one we're asked, what would you subtract 4 from to get negative 23? Now, you might already know the answer, but what's best to do is learn the steps. If you want to move something to the other side, you do the opposite, because think about it. If I add 4 to negative 4, that cancels, and then I'm just left with D equals negative 19. Now, one habit you should get into is always check your answer. So in other words, I started with this, and I think the answer is negative 19. And these are both negative, so I would add them. And so as I can see, certainly that checks. Other times you might need to move things around. So notice that I have some like terms. Okay, so if you haven't watched the video on like terms, be sure and watch it. So I could move the 7t to the other side by subtracting it. So in other words, you do the opposite. That cancels. So I get 2t, and I just bring the negative 6 down, and I'm left with negative 2. Now to cancel out negative 6, I would do a plus 6 on both sides. I would get 2t equals 6 minus 2, which is 4. When you are multiplying, because that's 2 times t, to undo multiplication, you would divide. Because if I divide by 2, that just gives me my 1t. What you do on one side, you have to do to the other side, and then I get my t equals 2. Again, you should check this. If I plug in 2, and then on this side, plug in 2, I get 18 minus 6 equals 14 minus 2, and I believe the two sides are definitely equal. All right, this last one just has some little extra steps where you're going to have to do some distributing first. So 4 times x, 4x. 4 times 3, 12. Bring the minus 5 down. 4 times x, 4x. And then 4 times the negative 2, minus 8. I could go ahead and combine like terms, so 12 minus 5. And now what I want to do is I want to move and put all the x's on one side. Well, if I move this 4x by subtracting it on both sides, notice what happens. So this can happen every once in a while, which you're left with 7 equals negative 8, which of course that is not true. So this would be an equation that actually has no solution.